we're a video notion. Template, put the text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Descript, we're a video notion. Template, put that text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Descript, we're a video notion.
Emulate the taste of like non-chicken nuggets. So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
Oh, that's much better.
Edit all the blather out of your videos because my time is very precious.
Oh, that's fire.
Make it less teal and more
Cerulean? Sure.
Replace your background with something more fun? The cold void of outer space.
Let's boost that sound quality. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
It needs more style, it needs more clips, more gifs, more. Well, I might have made it too gnarly.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Descript API Office Hours. I am your co-host, Aaron, joined as always by QA engineer Teddy. Teddy, how's it going today?
Good. How about you?
Can't complain. I edited a video podcast with 3 speakers in the API, and it was amazing last night. So just trying to dog food, get high on our own supply, with the Descript API.
I'm so excited to hear that. And also, I'm really excited that next week we will be able to do live API office hours together at the Descript Telethon.
Yes. Don't ask what we'll be wearing for attire. That's top secret. But we've seen pictures and heard rumblings. And it might be worth it just for the spectacle, even if you're not going to build an app on Descript or use Claude or ChatGPT to edit, just to laugh at the silliness. Yeah. Well, we want to welcome you. If you're using the API, we would love to hear in the chat what sorts of tasks you've found it to be helpful with, what workflows, what types of videos or audio projects you're making with it. If you're having problems or something it can't do that you wish it could, creating anything, even just like, how do I use it? What is it? We always get some people who are intrigued and said, I'll just tune in, but I don't even know what an API is, let alone why would I need that for a video app? So, Teddy, if there are any of those people, like we already have a question from Metro on YouTube here about connecting it with Gemini. What's the answer to, does it work with this AI tool?
So the answer is the MCP can work currently with any AI tool that lets you add a custom connector. So we're in beta mode right now, so which is why we're not in any of the official marketplaces for these AI tools. But if you can use a custom connector, then you just drop our MCP link in and you can connect and use Descript through your favorite LLM. So I think Gemini does work, right, Aaron?
I've used it with Gemini CLI. I haven't. I know they just launched a desktop app, I think, in the last week or so. I haven't used the desktop app, but if you've used any web-hosted MCP, basically, if you can paste in the URL it needs to look at and you have a token, you can make it work. But certainly works with Gemini in the CLI. So if you're in the Gemini ecosystem and not using it in the CLI, you could just look for, how do I install it? And then you literally just type Gemini in your terminal and say, here's the Descript API, use it.
Yes, and then we also know it works with Claude, which is my personal favorite, and also ChatGPT and Codex.
Yes. And Daniel in the chat, whose judgment I trust, says you can also use it via Google AI Studio, which I didn't think of. But you can. They have a bunch of app building features now and the voice API. And Google AI Studios is a fun, it's kind of like a lab to just tinker with all things Gemini. So that's a good point. I'm sure it works there as well. And you can use your same Google account that you were probably using in the Gemini app or web app. Yeah. So how about getting started and just like use cases? What if, let's say I have a podcast or a YouTube channel. Why would I want a video API for Descript?
So what's really nice about the video API is it basically gives you more ways to access your tools in Descript without having to actually be on descript.com. So whether that's through your favorite LLM, or you can use other workflow automation apps like Zapier or our CLI tool, that enables you to, if you don't have the ability to go to Descript right now, or going to descript.com would honestly just pull you out of your flow, like you've got a good work groove going, you don't have to do that anymore. Descript is coming to you. And so the use cases then of how that would look like, for example, you could build a Zapier app where if you're out in the field making recordings on your iPhone, you email it to yourself. Zapier detects you sent an email with files that you want to bring into Descript, and it just loads them into Descript so that by the time you get home, you're ready to start editing and your media is all there waiting for you, and you don't have to just drag and drop everything from your phone to your computer to Descript anymore. Or if you're, let's say you're on the bus and you're like, I want to make some edits to this video, you can just talk to Underlord through Claude and say, hey, Claude, make these edits to my video. And then by the time you get into the office, you can then load up your video, see what Claude did, and say, this is great. Let me just make the last few tweaks and then I'll publish it. What we're trying to do with the API is not replace editing, but give you more flexibility in your editing, and also let you integrate Descript with other tools too, so that Claude and other LLMs, just like how they pull from your apps like Google Calendar or GitHub if you're an engineer, they can also pull from Descript and incorporate all your other apps into Claude's planning or your LLM's planning when it decides, how do I make a Descript video that's great for you, for your purposes?
Okay, you sold me. I want to be able to do this. I want to be on the bus in a Claude app giving edit, suggestions to a Descript project.
Yes.
How do I get Claude to talk to Descript? What's that look like?
So I'll show you. So caveat, once my screenshot comes up here, is you'll still have to be on your laptop, because I personally can't vouch for the Claude mobile app because I haven't used it much. But I can show you how to connect on Claude desktop. if we could just get my screen share on screen. There we go. Okay, so from your Claude window here, and these steps, again, they're virtually the same for any LLM you want to use that allows a custom connector. The core thing you're going to look out for is the URL that I'm going to put into the custom connector. Oh, whoopsie doo.
That was me.
Okie dokie. So from here on the sidebar where it says customize, I'm going to click connectors. And then because we're a custom connector, I'm going to click the plus bar here and click add custom connector. And I'm going to name this Descript. And then this is the URL you use to connect to Descript's MCP server. It's api.descript.com/v2/mcp. And you can find this in our Help Center documentation. And all these steps I'm walking through to set up as well are also listed there. And you don't have to worry about anything in the Advanced Settings tab. So I'm going to click Add. Okay, and this is something that happens that we're currently working on is sometimes when you first connect, it'll say no tools available. That's okay. Don't worry about that. We're just going to refresh the tools list first. And so the real issue is a connection issue. So I'm just going to click connect. And then what that does is it opens up a web browser prompting me to connect to Descript with Claude. And so one thing to note here is whatever Descript window or whatever Descript drive you're currently signed in with is what will get connected to Claude when you click allow here. And so if later down the line you want to change that drive, that's okay. You can totally do that. But just a heads up that that's what happens. So I'm going to click allow. And then it'll take me back to Claude. And you'll know you're successfully connected when you see under Descript that we have all these different tools for import media, underlord, publish, and more. And just like any other connector too, you can customize how much access you want to give Claude. I'm happy to let Claude drive, so I'm just going to give Claude all the permissions right now. But you can also give the needs approval for tools if you'd prefer. You just need to make sure that it has at minimum needs approval or always allow, or else Claude won't be able to do the things with Descript that you want it to do. And so now, if we want to test drive how that works, what I could just do is I can type into a Claude chat and say, make me a Descript video about whether or not a hamburger counts as a layer cake.
The outrageous discussions that get prompted from Teddy and Claude on Friday afternoons.
And then you can see here that Claude is already talking to Descript. Claude knows what Descript is and how to contact it. And so Claude's thinking here right now about the best plan. But what also is kind of fun is I can, on the one hand, have Claude doing Claude's thing over here. And I can also go to Descript, and I can see Claude already created a project here. And if you want, you can even watch Claude work. Or if you're like, I don't know how this does, is it actually doing the work? Is Teddy just making some magic show, or where's the smoke and mirrors? You know, you can do these same steps too, and just watch Claude do all the remote surgery on your video.
Yeah, so for somebody like Metro who's going, okay, I'm not a coder or a developer, why do I need an API? Basically, I'm getting an app to talk to the app I used to have to go to myself and click the button and type the key and add the media. And now I'm building a pathway that doesn't need me to directly go to Descript. I still can and probably will for some things, but I don't have to.
Right, exactly. And then part of the beauty of having an MCP is, for example, let's say you're somebody who likes to use Claude Cowork, where you have folders on your computer that are full of, say, like your footage, your scripts, your brainstorming on what you want your video to be like. Now with the MCP, Claude can pull all of that and incorporate it into your Descript video. Whereas before, the things that Underlord could do for your video were only what Underlord had access to in that specific Descript project. So now it's like if before you liked using Underlord to create videos, but Underlord only had access to like whatever you directly gave it, by connecting Underlord to Claude, Underlord now can have access to the things that Claude has access to, and it gives Underlord a lot more to work with.
Yeah. And I agree with Daniel. The discussion about ChatGPT, the short answer is yes, you can use ChatGPT.
Mhm.
The longer answer is, but do you want to? He's a Codex ambassador, so you should, look up his
Mm.
website or message him on socials, and he knows what he's talking about. But using Codex is going to be a much better experience. And the way I would say it, Teddy, have you messed with any of the Claude Cowork or Claude Code API, like using the MCP through there versus just in chat?
So I haven't done so much with Cowork. With Claude Code, it's basically the same, both the same setup and also the same experience as using it in desktop, especially now that Claude, I think, is trying to unify all those services into the desktop app anyway. That's just been my experience, but I'm curious if you've had different.
Yeah. Well, I think what we want to bring up is why would someone want to use it in one of those interfaces? So let's say Claude Code, because they're like, well, Claude is Claude, and I just chat with it.
Mhm.
What you did is really cool. What are some of the specific things that you might be able to do with the different
Mhm.
interface versus just the Claude chat or the GPT chat? It's not specific to Claude.
Mhm. Right. So I think one of the some of the different things that you might be able to do with say Codex versus ChatGPT or say Claude Code, Claude Cowork versus just Claude Chat is again that in those modes you can connect to other MCPs. You can also give access to different sources of information that then make Claude or your LLM of choice more powerful and therefore make it able to direct Underlord better and make your videos more powerful. So I think the key thing with the API is really that we're giving more information, and the more and I think a lot of people who are familiar with AI tools will be very familiar with this. That the more information you can give your LLM while you're working with, that the better your end result is going to be, and that's part of why the MCP and the API are so powerful. Is that they're giving we're able to pipe in so much more information into Descript in this way.
Yes. And I would add, I think with Claude Cowork and Code or Codex instead of just the
Mhm.
chat, if you want to do things like automations or things that happen on a
Mhm.
trigger, you could use a Zapier type tool, but Claude Code could say, look at this folder every day. And whenever there's a new video,
Mhm.
pass it to Descript and then move it to another folder and use that as like a hopper. So all
Mhm.
you had to do was save your video somewhere, and it's going to get auto created as a project every
Mhm.
weekday at 8 a.m. or some of these timers basically
Mhm.
um, that a chat just can't do. Like in the
Yeah.
Claude app, a chat can't look at a local folder and create a
Mhm.
Descript project without you prompting it, I don't think.
Right. Or like similarly, you could define skills as well for creating your videos to basically have reusable templates that, let's say I'm a social media manager or I'm just a YouTuber, but I'm trying to be my own social media manager. And I've found that videos that are 30 seconds long have this kind of intro, then this kind of hook, and then this much footage do really well on my socials. I could create templates for that or Claude skills for that. So that way, each time I want to make new videos with whatever new footage I have, I just have to put in the new footage and then say use this skill to basically automate the all the boilerplate stuff of like, okay, at exactly 5 seconds, we're going to switch from my intro music to starting this footage, and it's more kind of plug and play for me.
Yeah, I love that example. And I think a lot of people try, how could I test different hooks? You used to have to
Mhm.
maybe create 5 different compositions and then go back manually
Yeah.
and rescript 5 different hooks.
Hmm.
And using the MCP, you could just say, create 5 different compositions and then leave in the script 5 different hooks I could try, so I can still go in and record it, but the rest of it's all set up, and it's kind of
Mhm.
it's doing all the manual labor, administrative, like creating copies of things and getting the
Mhm.
media in, so you can just go record.
Right, exactly. Or like, let's say I already have longer form recording. Like I've recorded, say, an hour and 50 long show, the Teddy Clegg show, for example. And then I want to turn that into social media clips, but I want to test different formats of social media clips as well to see what works well. I still have my long form that's in Descript, but I can tell Claude, for example, I want you to do some research on what are kind of the top 5 highest performing like social media clip formats right now for long form podcasts of my subject type. And then I want you to create some social media clips from this Descript project using those different templates, each in a different composition. And then I can just have Underlord do all that for me. And then when Underlord tells me they're ready, then I can just publish them to my social media and see what gets views.
And we might have to talk to your talent agent, but I think we totally should take all of the contentious debates you've sparked on API office hours. There's 6 of them now, if my math is correct. Maybe we should turn those into either social clips or carousel or something with the API.
I'm happy to give Descript marketing rights to use my brilliant questions.
Yeah. That could be, for the Teddy Clegg channel. That's what I was thinking in my brain. Maybe it's gardening or developer things. And I thought maybe it's just Teddy making everyone mad with outrageous debates.
The original source of internet traction is rage bait.
Yes. And you have a unique approach to it. Should we check out, speaking of rage bait, should we check out what Claude's script in this project did with the hamburger versus is it a layer
Yeah.
cake?
So it looks like Claude took a first pass here where it wrote me a script and it defined some chapters for how it wants this video to proceed. And let's see, the verdict is that Claude agrees a hamburger could be a layer cake. But this isn't publishable. And that's okay. Because what I can do is I can just go back to Claude and be like, I would like you to assign an AI speaker and avatar that is suitable for this video based on the content. Add stock media and AI generated images where appropriate, as well as fun and fresh music and captions.
Daniel's got lots of suggestions for our fake Descript shows because yesterday we were told that social media boys for Gabe and I's fake podcast was a total miss and that we should have been the Descript dudes. And
Oh,
apparently your new YouTube channel that we're all begging for you to start over the weekend is Disrupt Ted.
that's so good. Thank you, Daniel. That's a great suggestion. Okie doke. So you can see Claude's like, my bad. I should have done more. And that's okay. That's the working with LLM sometimes. But you can see now that Claude is now actively prompting Descript to make those improvements I asked for. And one thing that's nice too is if I didn't have this window open, because I have it open so that we all can see for demo purposes what's going on. But if I'm just like in the zone in Claude, I can click open project in Descript here at any time to see what's actually happening under the hood. And it will update live as well to show you what Claude is actively doing. Because I know for me, it's a big pain point when when I type something into Claude and I'm like, hey, please do this. And it's taking a while, but I don't get any status updates and I don't really know what's going on. And Claude's like, I'm whimsifying. I'm making happiness. And I'm like, that's great, Claude, but what about my work report that I need by 2 p.m. tomorrow?
Yeah. And I like to hit the little arrow there where it's blinking because I understand they're trying to hide all the tool calls and the nerdy things most people don't care
Mhm.
about. But if you're curious, like how is it doing that, or which step
Mhm.
of this 3-part plan is it on, you can always expand that to see where it is.
Mhm. Yeah. And then one thing too I want to touch on because we're almost out of time today is right now we're focusing on editing a lot, but you can also use the MCP and the API to import your media, like we mentioned, and you can do local media import too. Just directly drag and drop from your computer into Claude or your LM of choice. And you can also publish from Descript or publish from the LLM and create a Descript shareable link and also just get a directly downloadable file from your video as well. If you're like, looks great, and one thing where we know that a gap there obviously is that then you still have to go into descript.com to like watch the video to make sure it's not total slop before you hit publish. But that's something we're working on as well is seeing how can we actually embed potentially in the future your video into there. So that way you don't need to be disrupted and interrupted from your workflows at all if you're just happily living in your LLM land, you know? We really want to be able to just bring all the magic of Descript to you wherever you are. Oh, but
Yeah,
we can pretty exciting. Now some templates are being applied. I've got this dude in a suit for my avatar. He is
I
the
like.
he's the patron of hamburgers as layout cakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like where they put him. We'll see how the media behind comes in, but
Mhm.
Underlord has improved drastically at just understanding the layout of media on the scene
Mhm.
editor. If you ever tried to do social media captions a few months ago and it would put them right over the person's face or up in the corner, and you're like, what are you doing? It's
Mhm.
definitely done better now.
Yeah, and if especially if you're an API user who tried this out and say like the first week we launched and you were like, these templates are all terrible, that is something we've actively made a lot of improvements on in the past few weeks. So I would love to, if you could try that again, if you're willing, and give us some feedback. Because one of the hard things is like, if Underlord doesn't have eyes, you know, when we're working through this remote context where Underlord isn't looking necessarily at the same thing our eyes are, how do we teach Underlord that like no, you can't just like lay your text on top of it and call that a good video. That's not acceptable, you know.
And that's part of the fun of the API, right? You didn't tell it in your initial prompt to put this avatar.
Right.
And so sometimes it does exactly what you say and no more.
Mhm.
And sometimes the LLM's like, well, I bet if you're making a video, you want something visual, not just a script.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you kind of have to learn the nuances, and each
Mhm.
model will, I'm sure, interpret the same prompt a little bit differently.
Right, exactly. And I think too related to that, um, choosing your model here and also instructing Underlord what model to use too. Because, for example, like let's say I'm in a situation where I have plenty of Claude tokens, but I'm starting to run out of my AI credits for the month. I could use a higher tier model on Claude to plan my video, but then tell Claude to optimize with Underlord, with its Underlord requests to optimize for my AI credits, you know, to make sure that I'm getting a good result, even if I'm trying to like be a little more economical. Because sometimes that's a common question we get is like, how much money is this going to cost me at the end of the day? Which is very real, especially in this tokens world. And just like how functionality varies depending on the model, so does the cost. And so we encourage you to play around. And while we're in this API beta period as well, our support team is more than happy to help you out with some credits. There's some more credits your way if you try out the API and are like, it ate all my credits. Just because we want your feedback.
Yeah, and if your AI subscription of choice comes with generative media, so say we had some people asking about Gemini, and you can use Nano Banana Pro so many times on that account. If you were using it in AI Studios or Gemini CLI, then you can use Gemini to generate the image and without leaving Gemini, pass it into a Descript project.
Mhm. Yes.
GPT Image 2.0, which is excellent. If you have a GPT plan that lets you generate so many images, you can do it there and then use the MCP to pass it through, or codecs in the
Mhm.
CLI. So you can take it from wherever you want and ultimately get it in your video without switching tabs or
Yes.
another subscription.
Yeah, exactly. And again, because we're in this beta period, we will really want people to test it out and try it out. So please don't be afraid of using the API and running out of credits, because we're happy to help you out in that regard, just to get your feedback. And because it's your feedback that we rely on to make the API better and more powerful for you.
Yes. And as we're seeing that, I would love a little bit more from Daniel on this. The menu that lets you copy as a markdown, would there be anything else you would want in that same dropdown, such as pass this to ChatGPT or open this page in Claude on the documents page? So besides copy as markdown, what else would be helpful, if anything? That
Mhm.
is something that we've had a lot of internal discussions, and I know there's somebody else in the chat that's like, good, I'm glad people are asking. I'd love to hear what would work best for you. You can DM our socials or me, but as we're building it, we might as well do it in a way that you want it because you've been using it.
Yeah. Okie doke. So it looks like Claude has finished my video. Skimming through it, all the scenes do have video and my avatar, which I like. And, ordinarily you generate the avatar, of course, but just because I really want to show that publish works and is something you can do, we're going to pretend my avatar is generated and I'm going to say, this looks great. Please publish it. Ta-da!
Because if you tried to do this 2 weeks ago or earlier, it was not
Mhm.
possible. But
Yes. And like right here, you can see now we're contacting Descript's new Publish a Project API. And also to something, if you ever run into failures where you see these status updates just say failed or something, if you can unfurl this and give us this info when you report it to us, that helps our engineers a lot be able to dig into what went wrong here. But you can see now my video is just in the process of being published, which is pretty cool.
yes, and I love that Daniel's sharing that he is building skills for how he's using things in Descript. That's exactly why we made our skills repo public a week ago. And one of the first ones we put in there was from a user in our Discord
Mhm.
server, which we'll plug and get a QR code up here in a moment as soon as Teddy's video publishes. But yeah, then you probably already have the skills you need somewhere else, and you're just connecting
Mhm.
that to where you edit, which is great. And it also makes it really easy to share with other people because it's probably just a markdown file in your GitHub repo or saved somewhere.
Mhm. Yes. And again, please feel free to add skills if you want to the public repo. We really would love to hear from you how you're using the API and what workflows you're making with it. Because I think one of the fun and exciting, but also kind of mysterious things about the API is it really opens your world up so much that then the question is, what do I do with it? If I can do anything. And people have had really amazing ideas and projects that they've created with the API, and we would love to see everything that you all are creating with it.
Yes. We also would love for Claude to publish your video so we can see that and get the little purple bar to move to the end. But
I know.
we might have to just say, come back next time.
Yeah, that can be this can be our cliffhanger.
Yes. I also want to point out, Claude agreed with your assertion that the hamburger is a layer cake, but you can tell in its response to you that it used a funny background track, and it thinks you're
Mhm.
joking. So while you
Yes.
might have won the battle, Teddy, I don't think you won the war because Claude is giving you what you want, but I think it's taking it as satire instead of serious. So we'll have to say stay tuned for Disrupt TED to see the final output. Yes, and we're
Oh,
all
and check this
excited.
out.
Oh,
My video is ready. So now Claude gave me, I can open this, and this is your classic Descript share page link. So if I just wanted to spam text this to all my friends and family, I could. Um, or if I wanted to upload this to my personal social media, I can click this link now to directly download and then upload wherever I want.
yes. So you didn't have to leave the Claude chat window to go from an idea to a finished video. You can either link to
Mhm.
someone or download to your computer locally.
Exactly.
Yeah, that last line is killer.
What-
Here's the test. The next friend or family member that has a birthday, bring them a giant multi-patty cheeseburger and say, "I brought you a birthday cake," and watch the blood run from their face. Yes. Well, that was an awesome demo, and Claude had good timing there because I was about ready to just give up on Claude. But we hope for everybody who tuned in, you learned something that you could do with the Descript API, and you leave with some ideas of what you can build. If it's going on social media, tag our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn, our Twitter, wherever you're posting videos, so we can engage. If you have feedback, if you hit a blocker, some of those errors that Teddy was showing us, let us know. Discord is the best place to do that. And we can we'll make sure that that link is easier to find next time. But if you're not in the Discord, maybe we could get Alex to throw that in there if it's handy in the chat before we log off. There is a Descript API channel in Discord. It has a little key. There you go. If you're not already a member, you should join. There's lots of other things. People share projects they make, looking to hire video editors that use Descript, questions about the product. There's a lot going on. So you should be a member of that. Teddy, what's the next thing you're going to try besides an outrageous debate video with the Descript API?
I was thinking I want to so I really love playing video games, and someday I want to take all my like tens of hours of video game footage and make it into like fun lore videos for all my favorite games like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. And I feel like I can use Claude to do that now that I can locally import all the stuff that I've had just on my computer. And I feel like Claude, because Claude can contact the internet better than Underlord can, it can also pull in from other sources and know what I'm talking about. And maybe then I'll start, maybe in addition to Disrupted, I'll also start a Dragon Age YouTube channel or something.
Yeah, sweet. And Daniel, we'll make sure that this gets on the project board when we're in the office next week. The
Yes.
full docs. And another thing we've been working on is the change log specifically for the API. Where's it going to live? And we just had a big discussion and have a plan for that. So I know you're probably someone who wants to know week to week or month to month what got added. We will make sure that that's something you can access very soon. Yeah, well, I can't wait to see your YouTube channel. I think the common trend for a lot of people is you have a bunch of media. You don't have the time to manually go create projects and do things. Enter the Descript API. Let Claude or Codex help you do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining on this Friday afternoon. We can't wait to see what you make with the Descript API. And if you haven't already on your YouTube channel, make sure you reserve the Descript Telethon Hackathon. There's 2 days. I think it's, what is it, 8 or 10 hours straight of live streaming both days.
Yes. And it'll include everything from like how to use the Descript API and other cool product demos to even like more fun stuff, because we have so many talented people at the Descript team who will be coming up with ways to show you all their skills. And you'll actually get to actively watch engineers fix the bugs and features that you have been hoping for and voting for the past few weeks.
Yes. So if you haven't already, there's day one. And if nothing else, the spectacle of all these people in this office dressed how they will be worth tuning in, I promise you. As Teddy was telling us about the outfits that we got a sneak peek at.
Yes, there are going to be some special outfits, and also a lot of really cool office decoration as well.
Yes. Yes. And it'll just be fun. It's
Mhm.
not just bug fixing. There'll be some laughs, I'm sure. So we appreciate everybody. Check out the Descript API, reserve the YouTube stream for next week, and we look forward to fixing all those little paper cuts and annoying bugs and making the documentation and the changelog for the API work for how you would like it, Daniel. Yes, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Teddy, appreciate your help today.
See you around.
Yep.
Sync it up, baby. Template, put the text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Descript for a video, no shit. Template, put that text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Template, put the text in motion. Descript for a video, no shit.